Sunshine, wild ones. It's Bernadette. I'm here with your pick a card tarot reading for Monday, January 18th, 2021. The root chakra is the base chakra. The moon with all of her emotions is just flowing in us. And so who better to show up in the inverted position today than Bear, the Queen of Pentacles. Now, people get all kind of freaky deaky when cards show up inverted, and I'm like, ooh, we love inverted cards for a lot of reasons. But when you take a look at the traditional tarot card meanings for the Queen of Pentacles, and you take a look at her reversed, sometimes it really can mean, listen, whereas the Queen of Pentacles, just overall, the traditional tarot card meanings of her, she's all about being the Earth Mother and providing for everybody and, doing all good for everybody. And that's great. That's wonderful. You're generous. You just have this really crazy, uncanny knack for the gift of gab, so to speak. It's like everything that you say is good news. Your mouth is lined with gold, if you have ever heard that. But that can sometimes mean that you're doing too much for others. So when the Queen of Pentacles comes reversed, yes, sometimes that can mean, well, okay, so you've shifted your focus, like you know that you're out of balance, like you're not taking care of yourself, you're taking too much care of other people, you're out of balance, you got to get that straight. And then whammo bammo, all of a sudden you become an egomaniacal jerk, and it's all about you. But enough about you, let's talk about me, right? So, but sometimes, and this is what I'm being told from the animal allies today, the inverted Queen of Pentacles, and especially when you marry that with bear energy, is about taking care of you, about self-care, but maybe not in the way that you might think. So what that means is, when a bear goes into hibernation, who knows what goes on in their dreams time? They are for so many months, dancing in the other world, beyond the veil, learning and growing and doing and whatever goes on, in a bear's consciousness as far as that's concerned. So this self-care may be a shock to you. It just may be a shock to you. And you're being asked on this day, it's ruled by the moon, to just sit with your emotions for a little bit and ask Bear to help you to understand maybe what kind of self-care you need that you don't even know that you need. And some of those things might come as a shock to you. I say it all the time. I'm a workaholic, but it's not work to me. It's all about creating and being around amazing people, just having such that privilege. But then I think I've mentioned a couple of times, I'm going to go dive with the manatees here on the 27th of January, right? I can't wait to take you guys along with. And it hit me. I mean, I had an emotional reaction to it. Like, I started crying when I was given all the information to one of my BFFs that's going to come with me. And I just was like, and she's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I didn't realize how much I needed to be in the water until now. I know I'm going. And I'm like, I gotta get there. Okay, we definitely want to see a manatee, right? We want to interact with the manatees. I want to see what they tell me energetically, psychically, animal communication. I'm all about it. But I cannot wait to get in those spring-fed rivers and just go like that in the water. Because I'll melt. I'll just become one with the water. And then I'll be good for a little while more. So what this has to do with you is, again, you may encounter something. Somebody might say something. You might see something. And it might trigger an emotional response in you, especially on today, right? Because we're moon emotions, Monday. And don't be surprised and just go with it. Don't have any kind of judgment. Don't have a reaction. Just kind of catalog that, because on the back of my shirt, and we'll show you a picture, there's this big bear claw, and it's like up like this, and it's got like a mountainscape in it, and at the bottom it reads "Find Your Mountain." That is this card today. That is the Queen of Pentacles. That is Bear as a spirit, totem, and power animal. Find your mountain, because that's what bears do. This is mine. This is my territory. This is my mountain. This is my den. Mine, mine, mine. This is my honey. Mine, 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 all mine. So you might be being asked to set boundaries today also, but there's such needed boundaries because it's going to harken back to self-care. I love it when parents tell me, well, since I had kids, XYZ. Since I had kids, XYZ. And I always say, why is that? Well, kids do blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yes. And who's the adult in the family? Well, I know, but blah. Okay. Okay. And that's the self-care that's being talked about, is that thing where you go, I can't give water from an empty well. And my boundaries, my boundaries have been encroached on so much. I'm like sitting over here, kind of like I do in bed with my 5 cats and my dog. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, over on the other side, and wonder why I got a crook in my neck all day long. But I don't know what else to, I just don't know what else to say other than the self-care and the boundaries thing. But again, in a way that you may not realize at the moment. It may have to be revealed to you. Now, have people ask me a lot, well, how do I work with the energy of a particular animal or a particular card? There are any number of ways. Some people have great success having journal conversations with them. Like they'll sit quietly and they'll just do automatic writing, what they would like to say to that spirit animal or the archetype that's on that card. Because if you take a look at the Queen of Pentacles in, the tarot card meanings of the Queen of Pentacles in the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, there's this really great, image of this lady, and she's holding this giant golden pentacle. And then there's a bunny down, to what would be her left. Because remember now, you guys, when you're looking at the tarot cards, it's about inserting yourself into the image and then turning whichever way they are. So like to us, it looks like we're looking that her left side is carrying, the pentacle is more predominant to her left side, but it's not. It's actually her right side, if that makes sense. So, and I only bring that up because of the balance of female, feminine divine and masculine divine energies on the right and left side of the body. And then when you take a look at the rabbit below, there's a tremendous amount of abundance on its way. In this reading for you today, in this tarot reading for you today, what that means, what taking those traditional Rider-Waite, tarot card meanings for and applying it to you today is just doing that self-care is going to help you in a multitude of ways that you don't even know yet, that you don't even know yet. And you may never be able to attribute X, Y, and Z that's great happening for you back to this moment when you start to really focus on some self-care. You may not be able to attribute it to that, but your body will know, your mind will know, your spirit will know, right? And then it'll direct you. It will prompt you to do more of that. Now, again, don't get so, caught up in your bad self that, again, you turn into some kind of egomaniac. There's it's a balance. It's a balance, right? Because I watch parents all the time, just because I read for them, right? And again, I did used to work with children and young adults, and I watch their parents all the time. They would take it, the parents would like have this whole buildup going on and take it, and one day they'd go, that's it! I've had enough! And they would blitzkrieg the kid, my office, and they would just lay scorched earth. Because they let it build up to a point that it should have never built up at. Ever. Because they didn't communicate. They didn't find their mountain. They just kept huddling on the side of the bed, the side of the bed, the side of the bed. That's not balanced. It's not balanced. And so, whatever this is, we could be talking about your child. It's entirely possible. We could be talking about your partner, a job, a pet, something going on inside of you. It could be a million different things. But it is so important that you stop trying to give from an empty well. There's a feeling deep inside of me, really deep inside of me, that so many of you are on the verge. You know what I mean? On the verge. Like, I've got I've got one left and it's about to snap. I've got one nerve left. It's frayed and it's about to snap. It's that. You're in that wired place. No good will come of that. Find your den, find your hibernation, have a couple of teaspoons of, wild raw honey or whatever it is you're doing, and go on about your merry business. Because bears, as spirit, totem, and power animals, maybe you've got to be your own mama bear at this point. You've got to protect yourself. You've got to sustain yourself, to nurture yourself, and to teach yourself. I mean, listen, what is any parent for? It's to teach, whatever child they have, the ways of the world, the ways of this, the ways of that, the ways of whatever. You may be being called to do that for yourself. You may have been involved in a number of relationships where you just can't figure out why they go along so well for a while and then they blow up. Why? What is that pattern? What is the pattern of, not having those long-term relationships because you're afraid to set the boundaries, and so you just walk away never having said anything, never having tried to work anything out. That's not balanced. And I got to tell you guys, that's not love. When you truly love someone in whatever capacity, this is not a rule. There's not a rule in a rule book anywhere that I know of. But one would think that for the sake of love, every conversation that you would want to have with them would be in an effort to make that relationship stronger and more cohesive and stay to last longer. And so when people just cut off communication, that says a lot about them and what they feel for you, really feel for you, don't feel for you, would do for you, wouldn't do for you. But it also says a lot about what they will do for themselves, won't do for themselves. Because over the years, what I've found, again, this is an observation, is that whatever people are willing to do to you, they probably have already done to themselves in some kind of fashion. We could have a whole conversation about that, but they have made themselves their own victims. And that's what you cannot do. Bear, as a spirit, totem, and power animal, is asking you to be in relationship with the hibernation time, when I say go within, it's not even about that. It's about going on astral travel to other dimensions, to other universes, to other whatever, and getting the information that you need to really care for yourself. Yes, that can be physical. Yes, it can be spiritual, emotional, mental. It can be all of those things. But at the moment, I think you only know this much of what you really, really could use that would be helpful to you in the self-care department. And then there's like this much where you're like, I didn't even know I wasn't doing that. I was doing that. I didn't even think about that. It's kind of just the way things are. So like all of those excuses, all of those things, and that those things that don't seem like all that at the time, we don't even give it a worry, a care, a thought. That might be the very thing that's holding you back or holding you down or making you feel trapped or restless. That's it. There's a tremendous amount of restlessness going on right now collectively with you guys, with the wild ones. Very restless. And I feel like you are like, I want this space is mine. This is mine. This is my space. This is my safe space. It's mine. But for the reasons of the unrest, you just such a feeling of unrest. And what you're going to find is the causation of that is not, it's like Inigo Montoya in The Princess Bride. I do not think that word means what you think it means. And so I hope that's helpful. I hope you find your mountain. There's nothing more glorious. I'm not in love with Gainesville, Florida. It's a place, but I love my house. My God, I love this house, and I love the place that it's in. I just love everything about it. And I love that my family is here. Gainesville for now is my mountain. I hope you find your mountain. It is critically, critically important to you. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you pick up a copy of the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle deck and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, stay wild. See, even Princess Hops thinks you should stay wild.